Today, I'm going to show you how to make soap. And we have a guest star. No, Emma, it's not you. Today I have Julie with me, one of my coworkers. She's pretty funny. Say hi.
Hi.
And we're gonna make some soap. I was originally gonna make kind of a basic batch of soap, but I decided that we're gonna get a little bit more difficult and technical, and Julie has never made soap before, so this is her first time, so we're gonna have fun. I wanna start off though with safety. Whenever you make soap, we're gonna be using lye, which can burn you, and it says poison right on the label. So always have long sleeve shirts.
Not 3/4.
Yeah, not 3/4 sleeve. Gloves. Eye protection, you only have one set of eyes. And I always keep by vinegar, just white distilled vinegar, because it counteracts the reaction that you're going to have with the lye. So if you do get lye, water, or any of the soap mixture that has lye in it on your skin, you'll pour vinegar on it, and that will stop the reaction. So for this batch, we're going to use olive oil, coconut oil, castor oil, and then for our skin, we have sweet almond oil, and I'm going to put a little bit of vitamin E in it. I also use a little bit of natural preservative, sodium lactate, which hardens the bar a little bit. We're going to change the color from a yellow, because it'll be a natural yellow color from the oils. We're going to add titanium dioxide, which is just a colorant. It makes it white. And then you need distilled water. That's very important. That way the lye doesn't attach itself to impurities from the tap water, like calcium or any of that stuff. And then we're going to add some calendulum flowers to the batch, which will add a exfoliant factor. And for our scents, Julie has chosen, we're going to make a combination of peach and rose geranium oil. So that should hopefully be pretty delicious smelling. So the equipment we'll need is, and all the equipment that I use is only for soap. I don't use anything that I would use for cooking, except for my silverware that I use to scoop out my oils, the solid oils. That stuff doesn't touch the lye or anything like that. You're gonna need a stick blender, a couple of silicone spatulas. I use 2 different sizes, one for my lye and one for the oils. A 2-cup glass Pyrex container, which is what I mix my lye in. A scale to measure out all the ingredients. And then don't forget your molds. A container to mix the soap in. I use a little container for weighing out all of the oils. And that's pretty much all of the equipment. I always have some paper towels ready so I can wipe spoons off and then set stuff down so I'm not messing up my table. And then a little container to mix the dry lye in, because you never want to pour water into lye. Always pour the lye into the water because of the chemical reaction. You don't want it to splash. So by pouring the lye into the water, it's not going to splash up and possibly burn you, because that's why we're wearing long sleeve shirts and we're going to be wearing gloves and eye protection. Okay, ready to make some soap? So first, we're going to start out by measuring out our lye. And I have our ingredient list right here.
I can't see anything on these.
Why?
They're kind of blurry.
That's weird. I think it's your eyes.
It's probably my eyes.
So we're going to measure out, we're in ounces, 9 ounces of lye.
Now these are exact measurements?
Yeah, you want to be as exact as you can. That's why I have a scale that's goes to the 100th of an ounce. and we're going to measure out our distilled water. And I always mix the lye and water first because it has to cool down, because the reaction actually increases the temperature above, 200 degrees. So it gets pretty warm. So that's zeroed. For our water, it's 13.5 ounces of distilled water. Okay, so this is the part that gets pretty fumy. So I always do it outside or under the vent in the on the stove or by an open window. So we'll do it right here for now. Just don't inhale the fumes because it's very bad for you.
Okay.
And then we'll move it away from us so that we can. And you want to mix it until it's dissolved. So it'll get a little cloudy. So this is why you always pour the lye into the water so it doesn't splash.
I feel like I'm doing a science project.
I know, it is a science project. And then you see the temperature is 228, 230 degrees.
Whoa.
Okay, so I'm gonna go set this in the kitchen. So now that that's in the kitchen, we're going to let that cool, but every now and again we have to go in and stir it to make sure that it's fully dissolved. So right now, I'm gonna have you start weighing out and mixing our oils.
Okay.
Which then, because we're using a kind of a solid oil here, which is the coconut oil, we're gonna need to heat it up till it's melted. Our lye and oil need to be within 20 degrees of each other when we mix them. So around 100 and 120 degrees is where we want to mix the oils. So the oils will be at 100, 110 degrees, and our lye preferably will be at around 110 to 120. And we'll start with the olive oil. So we want 40.6 ounces.
Okay. I don't know if I can do
Once
it.
you do
Pressure's on.
You're okay. We always can spoon some out if we go over.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll do coconut oil. We need 16.3 ounces of coconut oil. We don't want to mix our skin oils, the vitamin E and the almond oil, in with the lye mixture at first, because it's called saponification. Mm-hmm. So when it saponifies, it's mixing with the lye and water mixture. And we don't want it to take away all of the benefits of our vitamin E oil and our almond oil. Okay, so now we're going to add castor oil. The castor oil is really good for your skin as well, has good benefits. Mm-hmm. So we need, with the castor oil, we're going to pour in 8.1 ounces. Okay, so now we're going to heat up these oils and then we're going to mix them in the bucket that we're going to make the soap in. And then we're going to go check on our lye solution and make sure that it's cooled off enough to combine the two. So we're going to increase the oil temperatures to about 100 to 110. And then we're going to make sure our lye solution is within 20 degrees from the 100 or 110 degree that we have the oil. And then we can start making soap by mixing the two together.
And we're just going to use the microwave.
Yeah, you can use a double boiler, or for time purposes, we're just going to use the microwave for this batch. Okay, we'll do our scents first. And what we're going to do is the rose geranium and peach. And we're going to kind of approximate the mixtures to see how much we're going to add to make them smell the way we want it to smell. Ooh, that smells good. I smell like roses. Because I got it all over myself. We're going to add a ½ ounce of our preservative. Okay, so we have our preservative and our scent ready to go for later. Now we're going to measure out our oils that I like from my skin. So we've got the sweet almond oil. We're only going to do a ½ ounce as well. And then we'll put just 0.43 ounces of that almond oil. And then we'll put a few drops of the vitamin E in there. And now we have all of our other add-ins ready to go. Okay, so in here we have the mixture of our oils, which was the coconut oil, the castor oil, and our olive oil. That's heated, so everything's a liquid and melted. And we're at about 100 degrees. So our lime mixture is at about 130. So we do have like 10 degrees more that we should chill this. So I am going to put it back in its ice bath and stir it up. Okay. So again, I'm going to dry this off so we don't pour extra water into our our oils. Okay. Now this again is poisonous and very damaging to your skin. So slowly pour it into the oil. And then I'm going to use, I set it on a paper towel, but then when I clean these out, I use vinegar when I'm cleaning it out so that it deactivates it. So we're going to mix it up. And then we're going to take our immersion blender or stick blender. And we're going to knock the air out of the bottom and just kind of pulse it. So right now it's having a chemical reaction. That lye water mixture is having a chemical reaction with the oils and it's making soap. So it's not quite like pudding yet.
But it's starting to.
But it's starting to. You can see it kind of sticking to the top of the stick blender. So that might actually be a good time to start adding our titanium dioxide, because this needs to get blended in pretty well. And this gets everywhere. You don't need very much of it. So I'm putting about a heaping half teaspoon to start. And then we'll see. It almost looks like we could use a little bit more, I think, right? Mm-hmm. It's not creamy looking enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so then again, we're gonna plop it down in with our stick blender. All right, now we're at a light trace where you can see it kind of sticking on the top. Mm-hmm. And so we're gonna add this is our vitamin E oil and the avocado, not avocado, we're using sweet almond oil. And
but could you use that?
Yes, you can use avocado oil or any oils like that are good for your skin. I'm also adding the essential oils. I'm gonna mix that up. All right, and then I'm gonna add our preservative as well. This will make the bar harder. So I'm gonna mix it now with my hand. And then we'll start pouring it into our mold. Although, did we want to just put the calendula flowers on top, or do we want to be brave and mix it in? We want it to kind of exfoliate maybe, so maybe we should just put it in with it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is gonna be so pretty.
All right, that should be good for in the middle, and then we'll put some more on top. So put a little bit in the bottom. And then what I do is I'm gonna smack them down to make sure that there's no bubbles in the bottom. Kind of like you'd do if you were making a cake or a bread or something. Okay, so this will be our sample thing, so it doesn't come up very far in the mold. Okay, and now what you can do to make designs is you can do anything you want with a spoon or a stick or something. You can flip it over. Let me see if I can show you that a little bit better. Or you can just zigzag it. You with the back of a spoon. And you can do whatever you want to make it look pretty. Creamier. And now we'll put on some, let's do just the petal portions of the calendula.
So what happens now? Get that out.
And then what you would do with this is put it, you take these and I lay a towel down, put them on the towel, I cover them with cardboard so that the towel doesn't dip in and touch the soap, and then you put towels over top of it to insulate it. And you do that for 24 hours, and then tomorrow we would come and pull them out of the molds and cut them up and then let them cure for 4 to 6 weeks. And then you would test them, you would test the pH of them so that they're not gonna burn you when you're using them. The pH should be anywhere between 8 and 10. It should be under 10 for sure. Otherwise it's gonna be too rough for your skin. And that's how you make soap.
This was fun.
Good, I'm glad you had fun. All right, it's the next morning and I have let these cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break them out of the mold and we're going to cut them. I have a little cutter that I bought, I don't remember where, I think it was online, Amazon. And that way I can get the same size bar every time. So what I do is I break the mold away from the sides, and then I'll take it and turn it upside down, and then it comes right out of the mold. When I cut them, I'll typically if I put stuff on top like this, I'll put them upside down when I cut them. That way I'm not pushing them into the soap. But since we've put the calendula flowers throughout the soap, you know, it doesn't really matter all that much. The bar is still a little soft because it needs to cure for a little while. But here is the soap with the calendula flowers inside. And it smells really lovely. It's very light scent. Since when we were making it yesterday, we stopped adding the essential oils at about 1 ounce. So it's not too heavily floral. And then you just keep cutting the bar like that until, and this one bar, these molds that I have will make 8 bars of soap for each one. And they're about 4 ounces each. And then after I let these cure for a little while, I will put them in, I'll wrap them and label them. All right, thanks for joining me.
Do I have to talk because I'm really awkward?
Yes.